I think it's actually just because that Kubo's just decided there has to be action, there's no characters have to be there. I think that's the problem with these plot twists. A lot of them just feel like they've been rushed. I mean, it kind of makes sense the way they explain the Grimjow plot twist, but it just comes smack bang out of nowhere. They're just in the middle of a battle, and then he literally goes, "Oh, by the way, I'm evil." Stab.
Yeah. If there was foreshadowing, if Kubo was taking some time to explain it, and I don't mean fake Karakura arc time, nothing should be that long.
Yeah.
If he just took some time, this would be better.
Yeah, and like I said, it just feels like he's falling back on old tropes. And, oh, did you notice? I forgot to mention that they're all fighting in pocket dimensions of this video game thing, so that they have different locations to fight in. Ichigo and Ginjo are currently battling on the fake Karakura town.
Oh my god, why,
Okay.
why? Just, why?
I know, it's just silly. I mean, has Kubo really lost the ability to draw backgrounds? He has to reuse them? It was not really that dramatic when you had it the first time, and it's nowhere near as dramatic this time as well, especially now I'm told it's a digital copy.
I mean, it's just proof, I think, that Kubo does not know what middle ground is.
Yeah.
Either it's too fast, too slow.
Or too good or too bad. Yeah, that's just I mean, this is literally what's been kind of irritating about Bleach is that Kubo has a habit of bringing up good elements, but they're just sort of rushing through them. I mean, Shan and Orihime, they had so much problems. They were side characters who, during the Iran arc, were pretty much screwed over. They had been built up. We were told, oh, look at this. They have these awesome new abilities, and they're going to help Bleach to go through thick and thin now. They're no longer just going to be standing on the sidelines. Oh, look at that. They're standing on the sidelines, not really doing anything. Oh, well.
Yeah, because I hate to get back to this topic, but it's Ichigo. Kubo cannot take the focus off of him.
Yeah, that's really the main problem. It's really irritating as well. The first fight they get in a few years, and it's against Ichigo, but they're not allowed to do anything because they've been hypnotized, and Ichigo's trying to avoid them, so...
Yeah, I mean, really. And furthermore, this problem goes all the way back to the earlier arcs, too, because, funnily enough, Ichigo is the reason they were screwed over then, too.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. I think the Soul Society arc was where it all started, because they had their new powers. We were told, oh right, they're going to be able to take on the entire armies. They were barely able to handle one guy in it.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is, this is what gave credence to my theory that I put forth a while back about Ichigo's aura of uselessness. Back in the Soul Society arc, when Orihime was with Ishida instead, she was useful.
Yeah, she was useful. I think also Ishida had his only one success of the entire manga, which was taking down that one general. That was his big crabbing moment. And
yeah, and that was outside of Ichigo too. That whole fight with Mayuri.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah, the captain.
Yeah.
The captain who was evil, and then Kubo just randomly decided to make good and forgive the fact that he murdered all of Ishida's closest relatives and comrades. Oh yes.
Yeah, that was totally believable. See what we mean about the flashbacks and good guys in Bleach? Anyway.
Yeah. And yeah, it's just really irritating because, you know, the whole flashback feed, it's going to get sacked off everyone, and I bet you anything, that's how the fight with Ginjo's going to end. It's going to end with him getting one new super form before all the way's done. Then Ichigo defeats him, and then we get a flashback that says, oh, I only did it because my wife left me, or I lost my cookies, so...
Since he's the main villain, I'm expecting it. Kubo basically did it with Aizen, so what can I expect? But I swear if he ends the fight with Tsukishima like that, oh my god.
Yeah, that's actually a good point, because that's actually one of the fights that's showing a lot of the promise, because, okay, there was one chapter that was setting up the individual fights, but it's only now that we're getting all the individual fights, which are finished off in pretty much a chapter. One of the fights that's looking like it's having a lot of promise is Shukashima versus what's his name? Byakuya, or what?
Byakuya.
Yeah, okay, thank you. With Byakuya, and basically he says, I really dislike the way you fight, manipulating others, and so I am going to kill you in one blow before you even have a chance to swing your sword. that is possibly the most badass thing we've seen for a while, and it's probably the only time I ever liked that character, to be honest.
Well, yeah, he does have a bit of a tendency to be an ass face.
And, that's all looking really good, and I really hope that battle lives up to its promise, I really do, but like you said, you knowing Kubo, he's gonna try and justify Tsukishima in some way.
Yeah, and so far, in technicalities, this guy's, in a way, personally worse than Aizen because of what he's managed to do to Ichigo.
Yeah.
And I just know the justification's coming.
Yeah, I mean, for God's sake, this guy is the one who basically mind-screwed Ichigo. I mean, Aizen just basically brainwashed a couple of people when he felt it was sort of relevant for the job. With Ichigo, he pretty much completely screwed him over, turned his entire family against him, broke Ichigo down to the point where he was sobbing, and this guy is so clearly evil and does not deserve to be forgiven, but you know, out of nowhere, Kubo's gonna pull this 180 card and say, oh look, it turns out he was fine all along, he was just misunderstood. No, he wasn't, he was a git.
Yeah, that would probably top Neutra, and that's my crowning moment of bullshit.
Yeah. Oh dear lord.
And you actually mentioned that fight having a lot of promise. I really hope it does live up to the promise because, let's face it, Byakuya got so screwed over during the Arankar arc.
Oh,
he
yeah.
got Zomari and Yami.
That's...
Yami!
Oh, that entire fight of Yami was basically just him and Kenpachi killing him off screen. And that was...
Don't get me wrong, Yami was so pathetic he kind of deserved it, but still!
Yeah, it's kind of sad too that two of possibly one of the most powerful, or at least the most popular captains, and they're not even in the main battle, they're taking care of some random guy.
Yeah, that was just ridiculous.
Also, one battle that may just be fun because of the potential promise it has, it's kind of hard that they both have names and sound the same. Riruka versus Rukia might also be fun as well, because it's been a while since we've seen Rukia actually get involved in a fight.
Yeah, and so far, I say this and I'm probably going to jinx myself for future chapters, but I'm liking the new look and general feel of extra badassery about Rukia. So, I'm really hoping that fight doesn't disappoint in that regard.
Yeah, especially since I think the last one was when she was going up against the, what was his name? The guy with two heads?
Oh, Araniro.
Yeah, that's it. Her last fight was going up against that guy, and I think it's the last contribution she's made to the series, which is pretty strange because right at the start she was like one of the main protagonists.
Yeah, and once again she got shoved aside in favor of Ichigo's battles in the Arankar arc. Oh, did I say that again?
Yeah, it's kind of funny because the fight's also taking a more comedic edge because it's kind of, well, it's making fun of the fact that she has a fixation with cute things, basically, so...
Yeah, yeah, that was kind of amusing, really.
Yeah. And frankly, Maruka's obviously the only person who looks like she may have a legitimate reason to be sympathetic towards, but that's about it.
Yeah, and it's interesting because outwardly, at first, she was the least likable member of Execution, bar none.
Yeah, she was basically one of those eccentric female characters Kubo likes to come up with every single arc.
And this one was the bossy, bitchy romantic type, and as it turns out, hey, she might not be actually so bad.
Yeah, considering what she's compared up with, yeah.
Oh man, it says a lot that my favorite fight in all of this so far was the simplest one of all, that it just took one chapter to end, and it actually brought something new to the table.
Yeah, was that when Ikaku banging his head against him?
Yeah, Ikaku had his weapon destroyed and fought hand-to-hand for the first time in Bleach. That was cool.
Yeah, that's true. You don't see much hand-to-hand combat in Bleach. I mean, it's implied that you can do it, but no one's ever mentioned it.
Yeah, this wasn't just skipping all around, throwing a few occasional well-placed punches like Yodorichi and Soifone do, because they have mentioned doing that. This was an all-out brawl. And in a land of overpowered swords and power-ups, I found that extremely refreshing.
But yeah, overall, because we better start wrapping this up, I think. I'd say, honestly, there are loads of good ideas, but Kubo just seems to be falling back into what he knows best, and it just seems like a paler repetition of the Arankar and Soul Society arcs now. I mean, admittedly, I've only seen clips of this, so if I ever do sit down and watch it, I'll probably be bitterly disappointed, but the filler arc in the Bleach anime, the Zanpakuto Rebellion, which is apparently where all the spirits that are supposed to be inside their swords start to rebel against them and they have to fight them to reclaim them, that looks like a much better arc than anything we've been seeing so far.
Yeah, I've heard people talk about that, but I haven't watched it because it's still Bleach.
That is true. Overall, the main problem with this arc is that it starts off with promise, and it then just started showing the weaknesses of Kubo's writing, because me and Sven, you may have known this from Monkey Broadcast, you go from promise, then say, okay, I wish Kubo would just stop building up the suspense and get to the action, and then we find out that Kubo can't really do the action anymore, so...
Yeah, I think it's pretty much the signs of a series that's gone on way too long because Kubo's outstayed his welcome with what he's good at.
Yeah, I think someone recently pointed out a comment where I think Kubo is too obsessed with designing things, so more often than not, he will just come up with a plot that's an excuse to create new characters and new designs. And it's also, I was discussing this with you, but someone also pointed out that maybe also be the reason why Ichigo keeps getting redesigned and new super forms.
Yeah, I know what you mean, and it sounds just so accurate too. Furthermore, it's an interesting thing to note because designs and making new characters seems to be what he's actually good at, because that's what saves the series, is the characters you give a shit about outside of Ichigo. Kinda like Naruto, all the supporting characters. Except somewhat different.
Yeah. That's kind of the thing. There are some characters with interesting designs and concepts, but they just don't get much developed or instantly dropped after their arc. I mean, what the hell happened to Nell, you know?
Yeah, that's the thing. Admittedly, Kubo does create great characters when he puts his mind to it. Then he abandons them in favor of Ichigo.
Yeah.
You see my problem with this series.
I think he just abandons them straight up. I mean, even the captains, it's been a while since we've seen them, and even then they don't get to do much. The only time they do show up is, most of the time it's to show off some cool power of theirs, like, oh, I got a new Shikai. I mean, think about the Inkaku fight. He was just a regular thing, and then out of nowhere it shows up as, oh, by the way, I've unlocked Bankai. Here's my brand new shiny weapon.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Admittedly, in hindsight, that did come out of nowhere, even though I kind of liked it at the time because I was stupid.
I think at the time, when you're young, again, you just start a shonen series, you get taken on the ride of, oh, this is awesome. It only takes a while when you step off, when you think about it, you go, wow.
That was stupid.
Pretty much. And I guess that wraps up
Really
this manga section.
That was cheerful.
Yeah.
Kind of.
So, let's move on to the next section. Quick fire reviews! Peppy, smiley, cheerful.